I'm Shrif عازر, the Director of Programs at the Egyptian Commission for Rights and Freedoms. It's a coincidence that today, the 28th of January, marks one of the significant days on the history of torture in Egypt. It's the 14th anniversary today of the January Revolution, which one of the main reasons that the revolution happened was incidents of torture and spread of torture among the Egyptian police, especially the case of Khalid Said. Unfortunately, 14 years later, we are still suffering from the same systematic practice of torture within the different facilities and detention centers in Egypt. The systematic torture in Egypt happens in different forms, including beating, electric shocks, suspension, even on a psychological level like stress and different use of prolonged solitary confinement and different kinds of torture, including sexual violence. For example, we monitored from between 2015 and 2022 more than 600 cases of sexual violence that happened in Egypt. Egypt started building new detention centers, and they called them the rehabilitation centers rather than prisons. And they claim that these prisons they are up to the international standards. However, from our work and our documentation, these detention centers are not up to the standards, and they suffer from a lot of violations. For example, there is always a bright light. There is the solitary confinement. There is alienation. And there is lots of the strikes that happened in these detention centers. There is also medical negligence in these detention centers, and we have many examples of that, like the Abdel Menam Abul Futuh, Ibrahim Mitwalli, and Huda Abdel Menam. There are also deaths, a lot of deaths in the detention centers, and we monitored between 2022 and 2024 more than 137 cases of death.